All right, thank you for coming today to our weekly press conference for Blue Jay football. I'll go ahead and open it up for some questions.
Morning, Frigon.
Good morning.
So just back to our last home game. With less than a minute into the game, how did the touchdown affect the rest of the game?
Well, I think when you're looking at, we're going back 2 weeks here to when we played Columbia Hickman. We had a series of plays to start the game that we had practiced that week. We ran a play out of the same formation, just kind of see how they lined up. And we knew if they lined up a certain way, we were going to go to a screen pass. And fortunately for us, we got that screen pass to Robert, and it kind of worked out like we wanted to. We ended up scoring a touchdown on it, and we weren't expecting to score on it. We thought it'd be a good play, and he did a good job of outrunning their safety, and we got in the end zone. It really set the tone for that game. We felt they scored on their first 2 possessions, so we had a really tight ball game to start things off. And then our defense made some adjustments, and they didn't score again to the final play of the game. So it was a way to start things off for us and kept us in the game early because they came out really well on offense that night.
With the offensive line running and passing and like the time of possession, were you proud or confident in your team?
Yeah, and I think if you look at our time of possession, we've run the ball well the last few weeks. Against Columbia Hickman, we had some big pass plays and converted some big things, but we overall dominated the time of possession, and we won the battle up front. We did that again last week against Ruskin, and we're able to run the ball well in the first half, and then second half got our passing game going a little bit. Our passing game struggled a little bit against Ruskin in the first half, but came together in the second half.
What's the biggest thing you guys are working on for this week?
You know, when we're in a different kind of scenario now that it's a playoff game, and we're playing a game that we played about a month ago here and lost 42-43. So there's some things that we're taking this week from what we learned from the first time we played St. Joe Central, and that was a game where they had, obviously scoring that many points. But we felt like when we look back at the tape, we really gave them 3 touchdowns that night from an offensive perspective. We had a snap over the head that set up one of their touchdowns. We had a 4th down punt that we had some errors on that gave them the ball deep in our territory, and then we allowed a kickoff return for a touchdown. So we felt like, defensively, even though they did score 43 that night, that a big chunk of those were things outside the defense. So we know we got to play better, not only on defense, but in all facets of our game. Then at the same time, continue to score points, which we did that night. So hopefully we'll be able to do that and take that into this game against St. Joe Central this Friday.
Are there any injuries that you're concerned about?
We're in that time of the season right now. We have some guys that are out and maybe going to be out for the season, but we're gaining a few guys back, which has been nice. Thomas Hendricks, who broke his arm earlier this year, is back. He's going non-contact in practice right now, but he's able to help us some. Throwing against our defense 7-on-7 where there's no contact, doing some things like that, which that's been good, and just good to see him back. He started the season really well and on a positive note, and then breaking his arm was a big setback, for us and him, and so it's good to see him back and in the groove with some things. We're battling some little nicks and dings, but other than that, it's been good, and so we're starting to get some of those guys back that were injured into that. The only one that we are missing for the season is Matt Gassner, who was a big part of what we did on both sides of the football, and he's been hurt since the Park Hill game, and we're not anticipating him back with a shoulder injury. So we're hoping we've had some guys that have filled in for him and done well. We hope we continue to do that.
Well, what's the biggest difference you see in your team now than at the beginning of the season?
Well, I think when you look at it, we've improved tremendously defensively, and earlier in this year we gave up quite a few points in the first 2 games, and it's been down since then. Better tackling, we're creating some turnovers, and I just feel like they're playing with a confidence that they didn't have earlier this year. We've continued to run the ball well all year, but I think the biggest thing offensively we've gotten better at is our passing game has come along with that, and we're spreading the ball around to our receivers. And Nick Kern, Xavier Hinkle, Jackson Barnes, Aaron Easley, they've all become a part of our passing game and what we do, along with our running backs being a part of the passing game. So we feel like we're a little more diverse than we were earlier this year, and hopefully harder to defend. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about shutting out Ruskin this week?
Yeah, I think it was anytime you have a shutout in high school football, it's great. We had some times it was close. with them. They have some, some talented players. They had one touchdown that was called back where a guy just flat out outran who we had on the field, and it was called back because of a hold. And, so we felt fortunate in that case to be able to preserve the shutout there. But all in all, really pleased with how our kids played and with the emotion they played and the discipline they played that night defensively. So proud of that. Yes.
So your next game against St. Joe Central is obviously a big game. What are some things you guys do to pump up your players and to get them ready for the game?
We try to keep our game, our whole preparation exactly the same. This one's a little bit different than we have it, a long bus ride up there, and playing in a place we haven't played this year away. So we'll do the same pregame routine that we do, and I think every kid knows there. It's one of the teams is going to check in their equipment and be done after that game Friday night. It's either going to be us or them. So that's a lot of motivation right there. We feel like our kids, they love football, and they've gotten better as the year go on, and definitely are hungry to keep playing. So hopefully that's enough in itself right there. We know there's going to be key things we have to do against them. They have one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in our conference, and he definitely hurt us the first time we played. They have a great quarterback and some other weapons around him that are really good. So we know we have our work cut out against them.
So with your next season coming up, what do you have planned for making it better?
Well, when you look at what we have, there's a couple of things going into next year. We feel like we have a strong underclassmen coming up. Quite a few of them played this year. Our JV just finished up this week. They beat Ruskin 56-0, and that was their 5th win in a row with JV. So we're really proud of how they've done. Freshmen had a great year. They lost this week in their final game against Blue Springs. They lost in overtime, had a chance to win in regulation, and had an extra point blocked. And we just feel that these classes coming up should provide us with some players that can be competitive the next few years. And at the same time, really proud of our seniors, the ones that we've had, an extremely small class of seniors, but they've been outstanding leaders, and they've shown these guys what it's like to persevere through some hard times early this year and come out and play some good football with these wins we've put forth in a row here at the end of this season. And just really good, high character kids that have been really good leaders within our program. So I feel like they're going to help us, not only this right now, but help us as we go into these next few seasons.
As far as strengths and weaknesses for St. Joe Central this week, what do you guys plan on doing maybe just a little bit differently since we lost, barely, but it was a great game? Right.
We look back at that film. We felt like it was one of our poorest tackling nights, and some of that is that their running back was really good that night. He shed a lot of tackles. We know we're going to have to be a lot better on that standpoint. Israel Smith is a junior running back. It's one of the top backs in the city and or in the state, really, because St. Joe being there where it's at. And he's going to be he's going to be a tough assignment for us. We know it's not going to be one guy tackling. We're going to have a lot of people rallying to the ball around him. They're tough to defend just because they have some other parts to that, and that their quarterback is a returning starter from last year. He's a really strong quarterback. And then some other receivers, number 2 and number 7, number 31, they're all good players that they put around them. So we know that those are some things we'll have to do better. Offensively, we ran the ball last time well against St. Joe Central, but felt we could have blocked better as well. We've gone back and watched that film numerous times with our guys and know some of the key points we have to do. All right, that'll wrap us up for today. Thanks for all coming, and we'll see you next week.